Hi, quantum storytelling. Today we're going to talk about the intersection of quantum theory and conflict minerals in the age of quantum woo-woo. So let's take a common example. Quantum storytelling to illustrate these points. You probably own a cell phone and a laptop and you use lithium batteries. Did you know that your smartphones and laptops and lithium batteries were made possible through the genius of Albert Einstein, his use of quantum mechanics with facets like quantum tunneling that came later? In point of fact, we are in a global material post-industrial quantum revolution with all kinds of quantum mechanics applications to consumer products. And you have these products in your home and at work, in your car. So let's look a little bit deeper at the different kinds of quantum storytelling. Today we're going to look at 4 kinds of quantum storytelling. The first kind of quantum storytelling plays the role in technical science, technoscience, and quantum storytelling formulas and aspects such even quantum tunneling produce the notion of superposition and entanglement, spins, and multiple positions. But now your eyes glaze over as you begin to snore in this kind of quantum storytelling theoretical wordplay. And you've missed the point of what I'm trying to talk about in this video. So let's go to the second type of quantum storytelling. It's used by corporations such as Apple, Dell, Motorola, Tesla, all the major car manufacturers try to hide or finesse their use of conflict minerals. So quantum storytelling of these minerals is in the corporate responsibility reports, the speeches that are made to shareholders. The third kind of quantum storytelling is guru hacks that do what's called quantum woo-woo, right? Deepak Chopra, for example, talk about the quantum tunneling you can get from the observer effect or quantum healing. And they charge thousands of dollars to you and they make millions of dollars doing this woo-woo kind of observing your own life and you're part of everything. And not just Deepak Chopra, but Joe Dispenza. Each make $150 million from this kind of weird thinking, unthinking about the woo-woo of quantum mechanics. But I'm interested in a fourth kind of quantum storytelling. There are precious metals being mined, and we can trace how materials are used in our consumer products, and these products build upon quantum mechanics. And they're sold in the market, and there's a kind of quantum storytelling in the annual reports and the work that's done, the auditing to make sure they're not using conflict minerals, etc. And we can approach that with material semiotics, with material discursive analysis. We can look at the use of child labor, the treatment of women in these hundreds of small mines that give their product to the Chinese mining company mainly, and then that's purchased through the supply chains of Apple, Tesla, Ford, GM, etc. So I find the intersection of quantum storytelling and conflict minerals and quantum mechanics theory to be fascinating space that invites our exploration of these different kinds of quantum storytelling perspectives. These themes challenge traditional static narratives and encourage us to think critically about information and material resources shape our lives in storytelling, which is a verb, which is a process of becoming. In discussing quantum woo-woo alongside quantum mechanics theory and their scientific principles, I aim to unravel these concepts and influence our understanding of reality from all four of these kinds of quantum storytelling. And they have ethical implications, such as the case of conflict minerals, that shed light on the connections between technology, quantum storytelling, and the ethics of our own consumer answerability. We are answerable for our consumer products that use quantum technology applications. Quantum storytelling merges process of becoming, as in Alfred North Whitehead, and techniques of quantum theory and material discourse, such as Karen Barad, material semiotics, Donna Haraway, contact zones with nature, Myra J. Hurd. These feminists allow us to understand the mergings of different kinds of quantum storytelling and approach to transform the way we perceive our experiences of consumer products, our ethical obligations and answerability for those products, to look more deeply at the companies that are selling those products. The roots of quantum storytelling are fascinating. I've been studying this approach for over 20 years, and there's an annual quantum storytelling conference. I'll give you a reference to it each December here in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Feminist storytelling is totally amazing about tracing the materiality discourse inseparability and getting away from quantum woo-woo merchandising of quantumness. And we can look at quantum storytelling evolution changes and how we communicate about these quantum technology applications. And I can see writers adopting nonlinear plots, and I can see researchers looking at nonlinear processes of becoming that incorporate quantum technology into consumer products. And I'm inviting audiences to experience this more personally by doing your own tracing of how corporations defend themselves, legitimate themselves, rationalize themselves in annual reports about conflict minerals and sustainability in general. This quantum storytelling techniques fosters deeper relationships of products, their materiality, the service, and we can understand the material discursive, the material semiotics, right? We can make contact zones with nature and what happens to the natural resources of the Democratic Republic of the Congo and other parts of Africa where these conflict minerals are being mined. We can look at various strategies corporations employ. We can ask for indigenous African participation in the audits of corporate social responsibility and their supply chain for potential conflict mineral use, and be answerable as customers, as Mikhail Bakhtin would say, for our choices in the once occurring event as a being. When we pick up a cell phone or we buy a laptop or a GPS, an automobile that has GPS and computer aspects in it, and we can look at those quantum technologies, the wonderful things about quantum mechanics, but we can also look at the quantum storytelling in the advertising and in the investment brochures and in the corporate social responsibilities, and look at the way women are treated in the Congo, how they're exploited. There's more sexual violence in these places where the mining for these conflict minerals occurs, and there's child labor, and we need to understand quantum theory, yes, but we need to go beyond the theoretical abstraction of quantum theory into quantum storytelling to look at the ways that the quantum fields, the quarks, the electrons, the superpositions, all very important, but we got to go beyond these theoretical aspects. And people can explain it like a Brian Cox or a Michio Kaku or David Tong. They're brilliant at explaining quantum theoretical aspects and quantum mechanics theory. And that's important, but we need to, as consumers, go beyond the theoretical to look at how these quantum innovations are being applied by corporations in products that we purchase as consumers. So that's what I would like to see. The challenges: first, quantum storytelling of the science, important, the technology, but how is that technology being used? Second, getting away from quantum woo-woo-ness, Deepak Chopra, etc., and getting into consumer behavior and consumer research that we can do as consumers about the corporations that are making these products in our everyday life that are all around us. We're in the quantum revolution globally. There's more products coming out every day. And it's not just about Schrodinger's cat being alive or dead, right? Until someone checks it. Now we're talking about child labor, women labor, men labor in Africa, being alive or dead, being abused, being enslaved. And we need to look at our consumer product choices and holding economy or these corporations accountable, answerable for their applications of quantum mechanics. Additionally, we could look at the quantum uncertainty principle proposed by Heisenberg, but it's mathematics. It's not the woo-woo, I observed something and I've changed it. No, we're talking about quantum mechanics experiments here, like the double slit experiments. But go beyond those experiments and the amazing applications that they formed from Bohr and Heisenberg, right? Einstein's work in this area. Quantum storytelling has to be more than the level of abstract theory. We need to look at corporations' development of consumer goods, manufacturing goods for businesses, governments, transportation, military. Look at the impact of the modern science and quantum theory and how it has radically transformed various scientific fields, various technologies, various corporations, our education life, our government life. There's more than just superpositions and entanglement and scratching our head and going like, what is that? Well, if I don't know the knowledge of quantum mechanics and its formulas and its history, I'm just at the woo-woo level. I want to understand quantum mechanics, how it's developed technologies, right, in our cell phones, in our laptops, in our GPS, in just about every automobile transportation that we encounter in our everyday life as consumers. And we need to explore how we can better provide accountability. And I think that's through indigenous audits of corporate social responsibility. My wife, Grace Ann Brazil, and I have looked at this in tomato picking industry with the Coalition of Immokalee Workers. And we have found that worker-driven corporate social responsibility audits is the way to go. You can't have a third party come in and do an audit and expect to know what's going on with the workers unless you drop down in the mine yourself and pull those rocks out like the women and children and the men are doing it. Quantum storytelling has expanded to corporations, Apple, Motorola, Samsung, Tesla, you name it. There's positive stories of the use of these quantum technologies, but there's also the way in which dominant Chinese exporters from the mines contract and supply chains of America's biggest corporations, Europe's biggest corporations, Australia's biggest corporations. And we need to look at the use of the 3TG, tantalum, right? Tungsten that makes your cell phone vibrate, gold that wires the cobalt, metals that go into your lithium batteries, uses in aviation, chemical, medical industries, education, corporation, 3TG, these three types of metals, along with the gold and cobalt, it's a $70,000 world market per ton. where workers, those children and women and men, are only getting $2 a day and less than that in most cases. These are dangerous places for a girl or woman. The highest level of sexual violence against women is in the Congo, in these mining communities. Understand the quantum woo-woo, but don't buy into the commercialization of quantum mechanics for these self-help seminars, quantum healing and the rest of it. Full of misconceptions, full of faux science, full of confusing spirituality with quantum mechanics. We need to debunk these woo-woo myths and the many myths that surround quantum woo-woo. One common claim is that thoughts can directly change physical reality, that there is no reality and only what we observe. I'm sorry, there's a material reality with material conditions of women and children working in mines, etc. And we need to form a human intention of answerability, of ethical consequences, looking at our own complicity, not just some abstract superposition construct, all right? Promote ethical treatments of auditing that involve the workers, that involve the community in Africa, the indigenous community, just the way we've done with the coalition of Immokalee workers and the research I've done on the CIW. There's a difference in quantum mechanics. It's a well-established field. It's a changing field. Every quantum mechanics scientist has a slightly different definition, approaches the mathematical formulas differently. Well, here I'm more interested in consumer products that are coming out of these quantum technologies. Want to get away from the quantum woo-woo, but I also want to trace the material discursive aspects, like how are stories being told, how is storytelling being used by corporations that mask the actual uses of conflict materials. For example, they say, well, our materials are being tagged and only bags tagged out of mines that don't use child laborers. But in point of fact, the people on the ground are saying that those tags are sold, that bags with mining without child labor is poured in with child labor bags and then the tags reattached. So the intersection of conflict minerals and quantum technologies presents ethical and practical challenges for industries relying on these critical components. These are the kind of questions we look at the Quantum Storytelling Conference each year in many different fields, not just conflict minerals, not just the coalition of Immokalee workers and how people who pick vegetables and fruit are treated. We're interested in quantum storytelling that expands your understanding as consumers of cell phones, laptops, and vegetables and anything that workers are picking and developing and working on and whatever. Here I focus on the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the DRC, the tantalum, the tin, the coltan, the tungsten, the gold, the cobalt, world's richest deposits of these conflicts metals are there. But people are suffering, and there's a difference between the storytelling being told by corporations and their auditors, their consultants, and what's actually going on in mining the minerals 3TG. Dangerous, brutal, continuous colonial exploitation is being repeated today. Child labor, 12-hour days, punishing work, digging cobalt, digging tunnels by hand with rudimentary tools, wretched hot weather. It's environmentally destructive. It's need to focus on ethical sourcing challenges of conflict minerals, the tantalum, the tin, the tungstens, the 3Ts, the gold, often originate from regions plagued by violence, 20, 30, 50 different military gangs extorting. It's kind of like the mafia times 30. We face challenges determine the origin of these materials from the DRC, the sourcing practices. How can they be ethical? Corporations must navigate complex regulations and our own consumer expectations for holding them accountable. Yes, that's part of the solution, but the other part is indigenous participation by the family members who are doing the work. Dependence on conflict minerals can hinder our advancement of the application of quantum mechanics to various technologies. I see an urgency to adopt ethical sourcing practices. I hope you do too. Give this video a like, give it a share. We are all affected by this. I think everyone listening here has a cell phone, is looking at a screen with an LED background. There's quantum mechanic aspects to these screens, to the GPS, to the camera in our cell phone. And we need to ensure fair labor practices, sustainability practices for the world, Mother Earth. This industry is thriving, but so are the problems. There are cell phones and computer companies that spin stories by conducting their own due diligence, but it's not very due and it's not very diligent. And I don't trust that kind of quantum storytelling. Cell phone companies join industry schemes in their own sectors and create some kind of joint organization or association to do corporate social responsibility, set the standards, set the ethicals. And they say, yes, we're agreeing to all these ethicals, but saying it and doing it, two different things. Cell phones and computer companies write annual reports. They do reports that are reviewed by Amnesty International, independent activists like myself, and we look to see if they're conforming to the Dodd-Frank Act, 2010, Section 1502, right, in the United States, that they need to disclose the use of 3Tg conflict minerals, tantalum, tin, tungsten, as well as gold, as well as cobalt, that's used in lithium batteries, necessary for the functionality of the products that we as consumers are buying. So please, if you can do something, I very much appreciate it. 14th Annual Quantum Storytelling Conference in Las Cruces, New Mexico, December 15th to the 18th. And you are welcome to come and submit papers and come and be audience on Zoom or in person, because we really want to understand not just conflict minerals, but all kinds of ways in which quantum storytelling is being used and misused. And you are welcome to attend. Cost $150 in person. We've got a discount for students and retirees, etc., and $50 for people that are Zooming in. All the best. This is David Boje. Thank you.